What's up, folks? Who's here? Thank you, Brennan. Appreciate it. Just doing my part, wearing my mask, getting all. Deja, Chloe, Brennan, Kimberly. All right. Anybody else here? Got a couple other people. All right. Let's see. Let's get this thing started. We got. Let's see. Chapter 32, OB and gynecologic emergencies. How's that? Hey, Brittany. How's that going for you guys? All right, so chapter 32, it's kind of a little confusing front end. All right. We'll get into some of the stuff today there. So let me talk about a couple of things first. I had a couple things going on, so like I haven't been able to get the lecture done. So what I've done is I've extended the due date for this chapter until Monday night at midnight. Okay, so and that includes everything, the pretest, the homework, and the chapter test. So that's extended to midnight. The lecture will be up this evening. I'll get that up this evening for you guys. I put out a quiz today, a practice quiz for some of the vocabulary, because some of that can be a little bit confusing. There's a lot of specific vocab for this chapter. And so it's you need to kind of know what they're talking about there. So it's just a practice quiz. I sent that out this morning or earlier today. I also sent out the worksheets along with the answer keys for this chapter too. I recommend going through those and answering the questions on that as practice for the test. Again, just to get used to the vocabulary that's in there. So go through that. Again, the answer keys are in there. Use the answer keys to check your questions, your answers. Don't use it to fill it out. It doesn't do you any good that way. So if you don't know an answer, just look it up there. Let's see. With this chapter is the last hands-on skill that we need to learn, basically. And that skill is obviously it's assisting with childbirth. What I want you guys to do, and I'll send this out in an email, in order for you guys to get checked off on this skill, what I want you to do is go to the multimedia section in Pearson, in My Brady Lab, and look up, make sure it's on chapter 32, and then look up the video for assisting childbirth. There's 2 videos there, and one is going to be assisting childbirth. It's about, I think it's 9 minutes long. Then it goes over the steps, questions that you need to ask, and things like that. I'm going to put out a quiz for that, and then that'll come out. The quiz will come out Monday. It's not going to be due Monday. I'll give you guys until like Wednesday to get that done. So test will be due Monday. I'll give you guys till like Wednesday to get the quiz done. But you have to pass the quiz in order for me to check you off on the skill. That's the last hands-on thing that we need. So it'll probably be like 20 questions, something like that. And as usual, you'll get to have multiple attempts at it. So, so please get that done. That'll be the last skill that you'll get checked off on. Also, hopefully this evening, I'm going to send out emails to, there'll be two groups basically. One group who I am okay with your skills, and another group that you need some work on that. So, so I'll send that out tonight. Hopefully, I'll get that out. I'll get that done and out tonight. Those of you who get the email that says like you're not good on the skills, basically what I want you to do is to be practicing your medical and trauma assessments. Those are the ones. Those are the big ones. If you weren't able to get it done without your sheet before, then you need to do it, and you know who you are. I sent out an email earlier in the week, Wednesday maybe, Wednesday, Tuesday, something like that, to all the parents of the program. If you got the email, it's because I didn't have an email for parents. So it was just explaining where we are in the process, what's going on with the program, certification, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So if you didn't know about it, that got sent out then. Okay, so let's see, to recap, due dates for this chapter got pushed back to Monday. I put out a vocabulary quiz, like a practice quiz for some of the vocab today. I also put out the chapter 32 worksheets that I highly suggest you go over so you can get used to the vocabulary. The answer sheets are included with that. I sent that out like an hour ago. And then the lecture should be up tonight. I'll send out the emails if you're good on your skills or if you're not good on your skills tonight also. And then the quiz for the video on assisting childbirth. Again, the video is going to be in my Brady Lab under Multimedia Library. Make sure it's on chapter 32 and then search for videos and it'll pop up there. Watch that. It's like 9 minutes long, 9.5 minutes long. And then there'll be like a 15, 20 question quiz that you'll have to complete in order and pass in order to have me mark you off as pass for that skill. Okay. Let's see. Oh, for those that are not passed yet on the medical and trauma assessments, what we're going to do is I'm looking at two apps. Basically, what you're going to have to do is videotape yourself doing a medical or trauma assessment. So you're going to have to recruit, and this was in the email to the parents, so you're going to have to recruit a family member or something. I mean, we can't get together, you know, so it's going to be hard. I told the parents that I'd be happy to send out an email or meet with them on Zoom to do some patient coaching, right? And you can see how good of actors your siblings or parents or whomever is safe, right? To be around, how good of an actor or actress they can be. So you'll have to videotape yourself, tape yourself doing that, and then submit it via one of these apps so that I can look at it and check you off. Obviously, this presents a big opportunity for you. So it's not just a one-shot deal, right? Like sitting in front of somebody that's grading your test. So you're going to have the opportunity to be able to do it multiple times until you get it done correctly without the sheets. I'll be sitting here grading it with the registry sheet. So for those of you that have to do that, just make sure you submit the good one, okay? So I can check you off on your skills there. Obviously, there'll be some rules attached to that, and it'll be a little bit different because you don't have the equipment to take vital signs or anything else like that. But I mean, it's obvious it's gonna be like, you know, you can't edit the video to edit out mistakes. It's gonna be a one-shot deal, that kind of thing. But I'll include all the rules for that. And that's going to be due. Those are going to be due by the end date of our class, which I've extended with the state until May 10th. So those will be due on May 9th. Okay, the day before the last day of class for the state. Okay, I think that's all of the housekeeping stuff. Does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff? Grades. One more thing. Grades. So if you had at March 13th less than an 80% at March 13th, that technically means like you're not passing the class at that point. So I finally, the county has put out guidance on what we can do for you guys. We got this yesterday. If you're failing, you can improve your grade. We have to come to an agreement on what it is that you can do to bring up your grade, though. And I can't technically grade you on new stuff for your county or city school grade there. So anybody that is going to be raising their grade because they're failing, it's going to be on old material. So we'll have to figure out a way to get your grade up. So maybe it's retaking a test, things like that. We'll figure it out, but I will get in touch. I'll be sending out emails early next week once I get all the grade book stuff figured out, and I'll let you know. But we'll have to figure out what it is together. So I have to have communication with each of you that do not have the 80%. And how we're figuring out what to do. But it'll be old material that you are going to be graded on. I can't, for your Augusta County or city school grades, I can't grade you on any new stuff. So for those grades, I'll have to do the old stuff that you do. Okay. All right. Any questions on any of that housekeeping stuff? Nothing? Okay. If you do have a question about any of that stuff, feel free to ask it in the chat or shoot me an email. Either way. Okay. I wanted to go over a few things in the chapter while we're here. So there is, I know some of the stuff can be confusing. Mackenzie, is our state grade different? And if so, how do we find out what that is? Okay, so the grade for the state has to be above an 80. That's like your passing grade, right? And because those are the rules we set out for that. So whatever, what I have to do is enter the grades in of the stuff that we've been doing the last couple of weeks into the grade book in order for it to give me like the percentage. But the grades of the stuff that we've been doing the last couple of weeks don't actually count towards your grade. So I have to put them in there and look at them and everything. That'll give your state grade kind of thing there, Mackenzie. So it'll be a little bit different because it's going to continue to change while most of you, your county or city school grade won't change. It is whatever it was on March 13th, unless you're failing below an 80, and then you can bring that grade up. Okay. So when I have the grade book complete, you'll be able to go in and look at it there. I have to exclude any new material from calculation in there, so it may be a little bit confusing. So you look at it. So let me get it all in there, and then I can give you an idea. As far as the state is concerned, all that they get from me is whether you passed or failed. That's it. That's it. You know, when they at the state office of DMS, they look at the paperwork I'm going to send in. It's going to say, you know, Mackenzie, Sans Morrison, pass or fail. You know, I check a box basically there. So that's all that they know. And in order for you to pass, it's got to be above an 80%. So that's that. All right. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit, Mackenzie. All right. So chapter 32. Brandon, you said it's a little bit confusing. What in there, since you put that out there, you want to tell me what you did find confusing, and we can start there. Can you explain more about supine hypotensive syndrome? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right. So in the it's usually in the third trimester of pregnancy. So towards the end of pregnancy, what happens is that the woman is laying supine, so she's laying on her back, and the weight of this uterus, which is at this point like grown tremendously from where it started. So the weight of the uterus and everything inside the uterus, which is all the amniotic fluid, the placenta, and the baby, right? So we have got, it can be almost about 20 pounds, all of that together. But when she lays down on her back, all of that weight kind of presses on the inferior vena cava. Okay, so we'll remember what that is. When it presses on it, it doesn't allow like as the normal amount of blood to go through the vena cava because it's being compressed. Right? So because of that, that reduces cardiac output and it drops mom's blood pressure. Right? So she gets hypotensive. The body at this point, it reacts like it's going into shock. Okay, so it's trying to compensate for not as much blood getting back to the heart. So what it does is it takes blood from like non-essential organs, right, and brings it back towards the heart and the vital organs, right? So we can get blood to the brain and the lungs and kidneys, right, and heart. So one of the organs it brings blood back from, right, it closes up like the arteries, it constricts the arteries in there. One of the organs that it does that from is the uterus. And that can have serious complications for the baby in there. So supine hypotensive syndrome, it's in the third trimester when the baby's getting bigger, uterus is bigger, there's the weight from the amniotic fluid, all of that is pressing down on the inferior vena cava. It doesn't let as much blood get by that, and so it reduces cardiac output and it drops mom's blood pressure, and she becomes hypotensive, so under 100, and then the body kind of thinks it's in shock, and so it constricts blood vessels and like the extremities and non-vital organs, including the uterus. So it can have bad implications for the baby. So that being said, any pregnant woman, if she's showing or definitely in the third trimester, when you transport her, don't transport them supine. You know, if they're sitting up, you know, maybe not bad, but the best way to transport them would be left lateral recumbent. Have them laying on their left side. That's going to keep the weight off of the vena cava, the inferior vena cava, and allow all of the blood flow to get back towards the heart and around the body, keeping her blood pressure up. Does that answer your question, Brendan? Does that clear up anything? Chloe asked, is that the opposite of orthostatic hypotension? Not really. I mean, because you both, Both of them you get hypotensive, but for different reasons. So it's just another crazy way that your body can get hypotensive there. It does. All right, good, Brendan. All right, so there's a lot of specific vocab in here. So you guys should go over any of the bold-faced words in the chapter in the reading. Just know what they are. And know the difference between a fetus and an embryo. What a placenta is, all the anatomy, right? Placenta, umbilical cord, uterus, things like that. Birth canal. Let's see. Know what supine hypotensive syndrome is. Stages of labor, or excuse me, labor. Yeah, stages of labor. 3 stages to that. Know what happens in each stage of labor. First stage of labor, Apgar. Okay, we'll get to that in a second there, Brian. Know the 3 stages of labor. So the first stage, contractions start, and the cervix starts to dilate and open up and shorten to allow for the baby passage. The second stage of labor is the baby actually passing into the birth canal, and then it starts when the baby starts passing into the birth canal and ends when the baby is born. And then the third stage of labor is right after the baby is born until the afterbirth is delivered. And the afterbirth includes the placenta and the umbilical cord right there. So know the 3 stages of labor and what is in each one. Left. Know what Braxton Hicks contractions are. It's another bold-faced word. Braxton Hicks contractions are, a lot of times they're called false contractions. Is it true that eating the placenta is good for you? It's meat, basically, and a lot of people do a lot of things with placentas. They save them, they put them in the freezer. Some people plant them with like a seed. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to eat one. Let me know how it goes if you do at some point. All right. Contractions again. Okay, so contractions, they're the uterus squeezing down and getting ready to expel the baby. The uterus squeezes and pushes the baby out. There, the Braxton Hicks contractions, they're like false contractions, and they can start. Yeah, Brennan, I'm with you. I'll pass on that too. Braxton Hicks contractions can start a couple of weeks in advance. In fact, Sophia's mother, hers started 3 weeks before she was born. So she had these false contractions for 3 weeks. So they can go for a long time. When we're with a pregnant woman and we're concerned about delivery, right, is it imminent? Is it not? One of the things that we have to pay attention is and can guide our decisions on whether or not we're going to transport this person or we're going to deliver at their home or wherever they happen to be, is the contraction time and frequency. Usually what happens with contractions is they start, they're kind of slow, they don't take a long time, maybe 10 seconds, and then they're several minutes apart. Maybe they're 8 minutes apart. By the time the mom's body is ready to push this baby out, they're going to be about 2 minutes apart and 30 seconds long. So we want to take 2 measurements. One is how long the contraction is. Mom can tell us that. Say, hey, tell me when one starts, and then tell me when it ends. Okay, so you'll time that. That should be about 30 seconds to a minute. Right? And then the second time that we want is from the start of one contraction to the start of the next contraction. That length of time should be about 2 minutes. When you have your contractions are 30 seconds long and they're about 2 minutes apart, birth is coming very soon. It's coming very soon. Um, so, so questions that you're going to ask pregnant mom are, how long are your contractions? And how long between contractions? All right. So to get an idea of, like, if she says, oh, I don't know, maybe like 10 seconds and they're like 5-6 minutes apart. Cool. You got a bunch of time to get her loaded up and take her to the hospital. Not a problem. If she's like, oh, they're like 30 seconds a minute long and it's 2 minutes apart, um, you might have to deliver a baby at her home or in the back of an ambulance or something like that. Like, it's coming soon. So keep that in mind there. Let's see, what else can we talk about here? Oh, in the first stage of labor, when the contractions start and the cervix is dilating, we'll also have just blank. We'll also have mom. Her waters will break. And that's basically the amniotic sac, that fluid-filled sac that the baby is in, that cushions the baby, it keeps the baby warm, helps regulate temperature, things like that. That breaks, and all that fluid comes out. It helps to lubricate the vaginal canal, the birth canal there as well. So another question to ask is, has your water broken? Yeah. And if it has, you want to ask what color it was. The amniotic fluid should be clear. It's a clear fluid. There may be, it's called a mucus plug. It's right at the bottom of the uterus. It's this little plug that kind of helps keep the uterus closed. It's mucusy, and there may be a little bit of blood in that, but otherwise the amniotic fluid should be clear. If her water has broken and it's like green or yellowish green in color, that's called meconium staining. And what that is the baby, it's a sign of fetal stress. Right? The baby has pooped inside mom, and that's a bad thing. It means the baby is in distress. It's also bad because obviously a baby's not pooping solids, right, until I don't even know how old. But they're definitely not doing it in utero, in mom's womb. So it's like diarrhea, right? So that means that the baby's going to be covered in it, which means their face is going to be covered in it, which means their nose and nostrils is probably going to be covered in it. It is really, really important, if you know that there's meconium staining, that you have to completely suction out their mouth first. Whenever we suction the newborn, it's mouth first, and then do the nose second. They don't want to inhale any of that stuff. Newborn babies, their lungs are one of the last things to develop, and so if they inhale any of that meconium stained fluid, they could get pneumonia, things like that. Really bad way to start off with them. So if there is staining, it means there's meconium staining. It means that there's fetal distress for some reason. And when the baby's born, you have to be really careful about getting that stuff out of their nose and mouth completely. Okay. Let's see. Just going through here. All right. Let's talk about questions here that we would ask a pregnant lady. Does anybody have like a question that you would ask a pregnant lady? They've called, you've responded to their house, any questions that you think you might ask? Most of these are like common sense, but some you may not think about. Yeah, Chloe, how far along are you? Good. Yeah. How pregnant are you? Are you past 37-week mark where, right, birth can come almost at any time, right? Have you ever been pregnant before? That's a good question, Bren. Have you ever been pregnant? But here's another one to add on to that. How many babies have you actually delivered? Okay. So the number could be different, right? let's say a woman has been pregnant 4 times, but she's only delivered twice, maybe because of miscarriages, or she's been pregnant 4 times and hasn't delivered at all, right? Maybe because of like miscarriages or whatever. So have you been pregnant before, and how many times have you actually delivered as well? So those 2 questions go hand in hand. Good job. If they had a baby before, is this like the last time you were in labor? Yeah, Mackenzie, absolutely. So a woman's body is going to tell her a lot that's going on that we might not be able to see or tell. So if she has had the experience of giving birth before, her input is going to be crucial to this. So we're going to be asking some questions of her that we won't be able to tell, and so it's all about feel for her. So we'll be asking some of that. So we'll be relying on some of her previous experience. Yeah. So absolutely. So were you pregnant? Did you deliver before? How did your first one go? How long were your contractions? Was she in contractions for 48 hours, 36 hours, something like that? Did it happen real fast? Do you think what do you guys think? Do you think there's going to be is there going to be a difference between a woman giving birth for the first time and a woman giving birth for the 4th time for like time between contractions and when the baby's delivered? What do you guys think? So that woman that's had, the woman that's had 4 babies, or this is going to be her 4th delivery, it's going to be most likely it's going to be much faster than the first one. It's going to be much faster than the first one. So that would be good to know. Right? How many of you actually delivered? Any other questions that we might be able to think of? So if you guys know any relatives or anybody that's been pregnant, there you go, Chloe. That's exactly what I was getting to. Any prenatal or doctor's care. So pregnancy is just filled with doctor's appointments, and they give you a ton of information. And so if a person is going to go having doctor's appointments, excuse me, they may know about complications that are coming. So that can be good to prepare about. They may know about complications. We could know about prenatal care, like have we been taking the prenatal vitamins and all that kind of stuff. And so has the pregnancy been normal, right? Has it been a healthy pregnancy? Things like that. So it's good to ask if they've had any prenatal care. Any other questions? All right, one we want to definitely ask mom is, does she feel like she has to push? Okay. A woman's body is going to be telling her to push, to kind of bear down like she's almost going to poop, right? But just pushing there. She's using her uterine muscles to help push out. So if mom feels like when you get to her house and you ask her, yeah, Mackenzie, that's a good question too. If there was any complications with the last birth, absolutely. But if you get to somebody's house and they're like, "Ooh, I gotta push. I feel like I gotta push." Well, that baby is probably started its journey into the birth canal at that point, probably in the 2nd stage of labor at that point, and that means birth is probably real soon, right? It's imminent, and so you may have to scrap your plans to transport and deliver there at her house there. So if she has to push. Also, if she feels the need, if she has to poop, she's got to go to the bathroom. The reason is when the baby is descending through the birth canal, behind the birth canal is like the rectum, right? And their head pushes down upon it and can kind of push out feces, kind of like a tube of toothpaste Yeah, nobody tells you, ladies, but sometimes there's poop involved. And gentlemen also will be there. Sometimes there's poop involved. So if she is feeling like she has to poop, that means that the baby's head is already traveling down birth canal, and it's a sign of an imminent birth. Whatever you do, don't let mom go to the bathroom. Like, who cares if she pees or she poops a little bit on like your cot or whatever. Don't let mom go to the bathroom and try to push, and all of a sudden she delivers the baby into a toilet. Don't do that. Bad look for you. So yeah, if she's got to poop, if she feels like she's got to poop or she's got to push, those are signs that birth could be imminent there as well. All right, if mom feels like she's got to push or feels like she's got to poop, things like that, and your contractions are about 30 seconds to a minute long and about 2 minutes apart, we're going to have to examine mom for crowning. Okay, so what that means is that we're going to have to get mom on the floor or on the cot, take off any like pants or underwear, drape her with a sheet to protect her privacy. And then you're going to have to look. You're going to have to get there and look, down there and look. And what you're looking there at her vaginal opening is for the top of the baby's head. It's called crowning. If you can see, I mean, and you're not like going in there like, digging around, okay? You're not sticking your hand in or anything else like that, right? You're just looking. If you can see the top of her head, the baby's head, that's called crowning. And that means like birth, like it's happening, it's already happening right now, right there. So, one, that's a sign of things that are that's happening now. And two, that's a sign that you're getting what's called a cephalic presentation. And what that is a normal birth, right? We come out head first, and that's what we want. We want the head coming out first. Anything else comes out first, that's a problem. If it's a limb, like, that's not good. And if it's the umbilical cord, also not good. Right? We want the head first. So mom has to push. She feels like she's got to poop. If the contractions are within a couple of minutes, right, that 2 minute time period, and about 30 seconds to a minute long, then we'll have to inspect for crowning. Okay. If baby's crowning, like you're delivering right there, wherever you are, you're delivering right there, because it's happening momentarily at that point. You can actually, the book says to feel for contractions. You can do that. You can place your hand right on top of mom's belly and you can feel it. If the belly is exposed, you can see it, a lot of times. So you can actually see the uterus contracting. It's wild, but you can see it. But you can definitely feel it. So if you're timing contractions and things like that, you can put your hand on their uterus and you generally get an idea of how long they are, how far apart they are. Make sure you take vital signs, obviously, with any patient as well. We will, instead of going over the whole, catching of the baby process, we'll do that Tuesday. Hold on one second. Yes, may I help you? You're hungry, honey? Okay.
You're talking to
My students. So let me finish up with them, and I'll get you some food. Okay? So you want fruit snacks? Cool. Give me 2 seconds. Let me get some fruit snacks for the kiddo. I'll be right back.
And thank you, my unicorn. Also, good one, my unicorn. Also, my unicorn is my fruit snack.
Sure.
Also, a unicorn, a mom told me, right?
Yep. There you go.
Did you open it?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to open that one for you. Okay, thanks for bearing with me there. Chloe had a question here. So this gets into the process. If we have to deliver and there is perennial tearing, what do we do, or do we leave it alone? Okay, so unfortunately, sometimes there is going to be tearing, and so you know, sometimes babies just have big old noggins. It's like, what are you gonna do? So in order for us to help um, prevent that, what we can do is that as the baby starts to crown and the baby starts to exit the vaginal canal, right, or as it gets there, we're going to be we're basically going to be like a quarterback under center with our hands kind of like this, right? Our lower hand, we can put pressure with like a towel or something there, or a hand on the perineum, okay? We're also going to be putting back pressure, a little bit of back pressure. We're not pushing that baby back in there or anything, but we're going to be put a little bit of back pressure on the head to prevent an explosive birth, like, because they can come flying out. But it'll help keep some of the pressure off of the perineum there. So you can keep a little bit of pressure there with your hand on the perineum. Okay, thank you, babe. Appreciate it. So you can kind of keep some pressure on there and a little bit of pressure on the head. If we do have tearing, we'll take care of some of the bleeding afterwards. We're not going to pack anything. We're not going to stuff any dressing in anywhere, but we can use pressure on the perineum there to help control any bleeding that's going on. Assisting with birth is kind of crazy, and a lot of things are going to be happening at once. And maybe mom's freaking out, maybe the parents are freaking out a little bit, especially since they're not at home or they're not at the hospital. They're in the back of your ambulance, or they're in their house, or they're in the mall, or wherever it is. But people have been giving birth for about 200,000 years, and most of it without hospitals and things like that. So usually things end up being just fine. But it is important to be able to do the job well. So we're going to assist mom in delivering. We're going to make sure that if you are transporting and decide to, baby starts crowning, you have to stop the ambulance, and you're just going to deliver right there in the ambulance on the side of the road, wherever you pull over, things like that. It can be crazy, a lot of stuff going on. It can be loud. It can be really messy. Things like that. It'll be scary for you, I'm sure, if you have to do it. But generally, things are going to be a-okay with that. So what I want you guys to what I want you guys to do again is to watch the video in My Brady. So go to Multimedia Library. Go to Multimedia Library. Make sure it's on chapter 32 and search videos, and you'll see it assisting with childbirth. It's 9.5 minutes. It goes through the whole process. I think maybe we'll try Monday to do another one of these where we can kind of go over the steps together. I want to make sure you watch that video before we go too in depth with it here. Let's see. Any other questions at the moment here? Brennan, I know your APGAR question. We'll get to that in a second. All right. APGAR. This is a quick, assessment of the baby and how they're doing. Um, Generally speaking, you're probably not going to be asked for what their score is, um, but it's good to know about it and what it is there. Um, they do this in the hospital. So, like when my daughter was born, they did it for her about 30 seconds after they cut the umbilical cord. So they immediately got a score. It gives it's an assessment on how the baby is doing right away. So APGAR, APGAR, it stands for appearance, grimace, appearance, pulse, grimace, activity, and respirations. And so those 5 things: appearance, pulse, grimace, activity, and respirations. So everything has a score of 0, 1, or 2 there. And so for appearance, if they're blue all over, right, their skin is blue, they look cyanotic all over, or really, really pale, or really, really washed out, it's a 0. If just their extremities are a little bit blue, and their core is like pink or a good color, then they get a 1. And if they're pink or have good color all over, then they get the 2. I know my daughter got a 1. She had peripheral cyanosis, a little bit of peripheral cyanosis. So she was pretty pale and had a little bit of blue there on her fingers. So she got a 1 there. Pulse, right? 0 if it's 0. Okay. If it's below 100, they get 1 point. And if it's greater than 100, they get 2 points. So newborns' pulses are really high. It should be like in the 130s to like 150s, right? They should be really, really high. And so, as if you went through the chapter, you know, like that's good. We want that. If it's below 100, if our pulse is below 100, we need to do positive pressure ventilations. We need to breathe for them, right? A little tiny baby, teeny tiny baby bag valve mask, right? Just a little tiny thing there, right? So we need to breathe for them if it's below 100, and that'll help bring up their heart rate. And if it's 0, well, 0 CPR at that point. Grimace is when you like flick their feet there, you give them a little bit of pain. You know, welcome to the world, give them some pain, right? Or like their reaction to the suctioning. You suction their face out after they've been delivered. So a grimace is if there's no reaction, they get 0. If there's like a little bit, they just kind of like, make a little face, they get 1 point. If they sneeze, they cough, they cry, they're making faces, doing all this stuff, then they get the 2 points, right? They're having this tube that's like this long stuck up their nose and suctioning it like a little bulb suction. It's like a little mini turkey baster. Yeah, that's stuck up their nose and stuff. So they should sneeze or cough or start crying. That would be an unpleasant experience for me. I'd probably start crying if somebody did that to me. So for grimace, if there's no reaction at all to flicking their feet or suctioning the mouth and nose, then 0 points. If they just kind of like grimace a little bit, it's 1 point. If they sneeze, cough, cry, like your expected reaction to having that bulb syringe stuck up your nose, then that's 2 points. Activity, no movement, the baby's limp, that's 0 points. Slight, lethargic activity, it's 1 point. And then moving around normally, they'll be moving their arms and legs around, as you'd probably expect a little bit there. So that would be 2 points. And then respirations, none is 0. Slow or irregular is 1. That's what my daughter got. She got a 1 there. And then good breathing and a strong cry, right? So we want like good respirations, the baby breathing on its own, and a good cry. Like, when you're at the store or wherever else and you hear a baby crying all the time, you're like, it's so annoying. If you're on a plane or something like that. But if you got a baby, we want the cry. We want it. That is such a great sign. It's a big sign of relief. You'll feel relief when a baby cries because that's a really, really good sign. So we want that baby to cry, so that'll be 2 points. So in total, the baby can score a 10 out of perfect 10. That's perfect, but obviously they can score a little bit lower there. It's a quick scale to get done, so it gets done when they're taking the baby's vital signs, basically, and as they're observing over the first couple of minutes immediately after birth. That's when APGAR happens. You're probably not going to be expected to give a good score there, but I know hospitals do it. In my own experience, literally immediately after birth, they were starting on her score, basically right as soon as the umbilical cord was cut. So, Brennan, does that help? Did it clear anything up? I don't know if Brennan's still here or not, but all right. Any other questions about pregnancies, problems with pregnancies, physical changes that happen in pregnancies? Okay, cool, Brennan. Any of the changes that happen? What are you doing? I'll be done in a little bit, okay? I'll be done in a little bit.
I want to see my section.
All right, so we got there's anatomical changes in pregnancy for the mom. So you should kind of know what those are and how it affects mom throughout the pregnancy. So the anatomic and physiological changes happening with mom. The problems. So here's some of the vocab that's important for the problems with the pregnancy. So terms like pre-eclampsia, eclampsia, abruptio placenta, placenta previa. Those are problems that can happen in pregnancy, and you should know what those are. Right? So again, preeclampsia, eclampsia, abruptio placenta, and placenta previa. Those are all problems with pregnancy that you should know about there. We should also know about problems in the birth process. What's your big head? We should know about problems in the birth process, and those include breech presentations, and that means anything other than the head coming first out of the vaginal canal. So whether it's an arm, a leg, or the umbilical cord, right? Those are all big problems. So know what the solution to those are. Generally speaking, the solution to those is putting mom basically with her hips up in the air and with her face down on the cot, and telling her not to push whatever she does and transporting as quickly as possible to the ER. Probably going to need a C-section to deliver the baby there. So know what the problems with during pregnancy and during birth are. Okay. Try to do this again Monday, where we'll talk about the actual process once everybody's had a chance to watch the video. I'll send out a link to, not everybody's here, or not a link, but a reminder. I can't link to it, so you guys will have to, the link won't play, so you guys will have to access it on your own. That pen is mine. So watch that video. We'll try to do this again Monday so we can talk about it. Monday or Tuesday, whatever works for you guys, and then or both. It's not like I got anywhere to go, so we can do it either day, and then before the quiz is due. Okay, thank you. Say bye. Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Okay. All right, get out of here. And then we'll go over the birth process. And shh, quiet. All right. Any other questions? Fine. Brennan, good. Khadijah, Chloe, Mackenzie, Brittany, Kimberly. Anybody else have any questions? Khadijah, you're good. Okay. All right. Does Monday or Tuesday work for either of you guys? For any of you guys for going over like the skill of assisting with the birth? I can do both. Like I said, I don't have anything going on. not like we're going places. Either day works for you, Brennan. Okay. How about the time? 2 o'clock still work for you guys, or do you want to do it earlier, later? I work all week, but I'll find time. Okay. I think these, Chloe, these you can still watch these. Either is fine. Kimberly, all right, cool. Chloe, I think you can go back and watch these. They'll be on the channel. 2 is good. All right, so why don't we say 2 o'clock on Monday. We'll go over just the skill of assisting with the birth. We'll go over the finer points. So maybe if you can, while we're doing that, if you can split your screen, if you guys know how to split your screen, so you can have my ugly mug on one side, talking, and on the other side of your computer screen, if you're doing it on the computer, you can have the book, the pages open in the book where it shows like some of the diagrams and things like that for assisting in the birth process. Hopefully that'll work. I'll try to, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But all right, so let's try it for, yeah, you can. I did it for the first one. Okay, cool, Kimberly, thank you. So yeah, you can watch, Chloe, if you can't make it for that, then you can watch it later. All right, so let's shoot for 2 o'clock on Monday, and then we'll go over just the skill there. Okay. So thanks for stopping by. Remember, there's a practice vocab quiz. There are the chapter handouts for this, which I highly suggest going through because of some of the vocabulary, things like that. With the answer keys, you can use those. If you have any questions, again, I pushed the due date for the test back to Monday night at midnight, 11:59, for everything, for the homework and the test. So that's that. I should have the lecture up tonight. But otherwise, I think that's about it. Anybody have anything else to add or to ask? Wait just 1 second here. I'm gonna have to watch this back. I think I touched my face like 9,000 times today. Dr. Fauci would be upset. All right, Brennan's good. Have a good weekend. All right, everybody. Be good. Be safe. Have a good weekend. Cover yourselves up. And we'll see you Monday.